where you want it.
Bay 12, please.
Hello there, Transformers fans, and welcome back to another Bay 12 video review. Today we are reviewing the new Transformers Legacy Evolution Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack. This is the Troop Builder 4-pack, or Army Builder 4-pack, whichever you want to call it. And I really have been liking these Buzzworthy Bumblebee packs that they've been doing the past few years. All of them, I think, have been pretty awesome with some pretty cool, unique figures. This is definitely my favorite, though. I love Army Builders. Army Builders are really cool, and my only hesitation when collecting Army Builders or collecting characters that are Army Builders is I don't really like to collect more than one of the same figure. There has to be some kind of variation, like a swappable head, for example, or at least be slightly larger or slightly smaller or a slightly different color or something to that effect for me to buy more than one of the same mold. And this definitely fits that for me because not only do we get 4 unique figures from 4 really cool sculpts that some of them have been reused a few times. One of them has been reused now for the first time, which I think is kind of cool and in a very creative way. And as soon as they announced this pack, I was just super excited. So first off, there's the art on the front. You got all of the troop builders on the face of the box in that awesome Legacy Evolution style artwork. You got all the different names there. So we have a Decepticon Seeker, and this is specifically one of just the generic Army Builder Seekers that were in the background during the More Than Meets the Eye episodes of the Transformers Generation 1. No, it is not Thundercracker. We'll show it off next to Thundercracker so you guys can see the differences. We've got the Quintesson Trooper, which is the bailiff body, but with a swappable head for one of the regular Quintesson Alicons. And then we have, for the first time ever, a Generation 2 Cybertronian Trooper. So this not only did, in the Legacy line, we get the first ever G-Axis figure based off of the original G2 comics. Now we have some of his Decepticon troops based off of the G2 comics as well, which very, very cool. I'm very excited about that. And the Autotrooper, or Auto-Rooper, depending on which head you put on it. Yes, it's the KISS Players head. If you don't know what KISS Players is, don't Google it. If you're going to educate yourself on what KISS Players is, check out Chris McFeely's video on the basics of KISS Players for Transformers. If you're going to, I'll put a link to it down in the description below for you. But anyway, that's the front of the box. On the back, you get product shots of the figures as well as with the swappable heads. Profile images of 4 of the figures, so you don't have all of the different swappable heads on the top. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. And real quick, here is every different trooper out of this pack. You'll notice there's only one Seeker here, and that's because the Seeker was the only one that didn't come with any swappable head or some way to make this guy a different Seeker. Because in More Than Meets the Eyes, while Thundercracker was the main one that they kind of reused a little bit, which is why a lot of people think this is Thundercracker, and which is why the color design is similar to Thundercracker, even though this is a completely different color from Thundercracker. It's just labeled Seeker. There's this one, which is like this pale purplish blue. There was the one in front, which is a more like a lavender color, and then there's a teal one as well. So fingers crossed that Hasbro has plans to do those other 2 Seekers as well, so we can get that trio of Army Builder Seekers. It'd be cool if they also named them, because I want to say maybe this one got named later on, or at least named by fans. I don't know if he ever officially got named, so if somebody knows, feel free to throw that down in the comments. But for now, his name is just Seeker. So there you go. Both of the Autotroopers, both of the Quintesson Troopers, and the 2 Cybertronian Troopers or Cybertronian Warriors from Jaxxis's 2nd generation of Transformer characters. So there they all are. There's all 7 unique figures you can get out of these sets. And yes, I know each box set only comes with 4. Hasbro, you dirty dogs, you got us for 2. I had to buy two. I know there's some fans who are only going to buy one and go with their favorite heads, but I'm too obsessive for that, and I had to buy two. And I might end up actually having to buy another one. More on that later. First, we're going to start off with the Seeker. I mean, the Seeker and Reflector were truly the first army builders in Transformers. And a lot of people forget about that. Yes, you can really just chalk it up to animation errors or whatever else you want to call it, but for me, it's just an excuse to army build more Seekers and other characters as well, and I'm happy to have that excuse because with Transformers, sometimes there's certain versions of certain characters that you just really like, and even though they may put out a different version that's better in the future, sometimes you're really fond of that previous figure, but you also want the new one. So it's nice that Seekers are in a unique position to where really all of them, even Starscream, are considered army builders due to some of those animation errors, if you will. Fully articulated head is on a ball joint. Fully articulated shoulders, in and out. Upper bicep, single jointed elbow. You have this hinge on your wrist, but that's due to transformation. You can, of course, take off his blasters from his shoulders. His wings also articulate because this is the Earthrise mold and the wings articulated on that one. Hips, single jointed knees, side ankle joints, the toes, the thrusters, the side bits, all of that move. So sometimes things are just going to kind of come misaligned on you as you're articulating one bit of the leg. And that is pretty much it for his articulation in robot mode. Real quick for comparison, here he is next to actually Thundercracker. So yes, the difference isn't that significant if you really want to get nitpicky about it. But if you want to get nitpicky about it the other way, they are very different. Thundercracker is a much brighter shade of blue than this guy. Like I said, this is a more pale blue, almost a purplish blue. And even on the camera, as I'm looking at this now, even the camera isn't quite picking up how distinctly different the colors are. When you see them in person, it is a huge difference. I know it's hard to describe that to you because you're looking at it on a screen, but pictures and video do not do this figure justice, especially with how good its colors look, in my opinion. So anyway, there you go. There he is next to actually Thundercracker. Thundercracker, Seeker. Thundercracker, Seeker. There you go. Now you know the difference. All right, transformation on this guy is really simple. Exactly like the rest of the Earthrise Seekers in the Earthrise Seeker mold. We're going to go ahead and start by pegging the legs together right here in the middle. Go ahead and close these feet. Rotate these tail fins to the back like so. And then we're going to open these knee panels right here. And then we're going to collapse the legs. They are going to peg in right here to the butt. Lift up this crotch plate, bring that down, bring the crotch plate down over it. And next we're going to open up this chest section here. You want to lift up these two little side bits like so, and then just kind of push this section back. We're going to go ahead and take off the arm cannons, set those to the side, bring up the nose cone section, tab that into place, and then pull this, rotate that around, put that into place so you'll notice it'll fit right there. Next thing we got to do is the arm. So open that panel there, kind of bring it up like this as well as the fist, because this little piece, little blue piece right here, is going to fit through that hole right there. So you're going to up on that elbow joint, push that through, close that down, straighten that out, and then fold that into the chest cavity. Do the same thing over here. Open that up, bring that up, articulate that down, straighten that out, fold it in, and then we can close the chest section. It'll clip back into place with those little two bits locking that. And then we're going to rotate the wings back and get them, pegged into place. Flip these other tail fins down, and add your cannons. I like to have them under the wings right here, but there's other places you can peg them on. You can also peg them up here. You can peg them down here. I like them under the wings personally because that's the coolest place where they look. And there is our Seeker in his jet mode. And he looks really good in jet mode. I love the silhouette of the F-15. It's a classic, especially for Transformers. It's a design that I dare say will probably never get old. I know there's G1ers who would say, yeah, of course, it's the best Seeker design ever. And then I'm sure there's some other fans who probably prefer the F-22 or F-35 or some of the other jets that we've seen Seekers as, or prefer the Conehead Seeker designs, and that's okay too. Whatever your favorite Seeker is the right one for you, and that's awesome. However, like I said, I don't think the F-15 design is ever going to get old. It's a classic. It's been there since the beginning, and it pretty much looks cool every single time they do it. For comparison, here he is next to Thundercracker in jet mode. And here you can really see the difference in color and how much brighter Thundercracker is next to the Army Builder Seeker when you see them side by side. And they look really, really cool side by side. Next up, we're going to stick with the G1 universe for right now, and we're going to show off the Quintesson Troopers. So here is this one, and here is the Bailiff head version. Now, this is definitely the Bailiff body as well. And you're probably thinking, well, they're the same figure. I mean, yes and no. The Bailiff body had a little bit more remolded aside from just the head. The shoulders were different and the chest were different. In fact, you can see those differences right here. So you'll see new shoulders on the Bailiff body from the first release of the Alicon, new chest, and then, of course, the new head. So here is this one next to the one with a similar head with a slightly different body. So you can see them side by side. And then here is the Bailiff with the Pit of Judgment Bailiff that we got. And this one's more color accurate than this one is, which is nice. I think they both look very good. And it's nice to have more Quintesson army builders as well. And another cool thing, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but on his chest right there is a Quintesson factional symbol instead of the Decepticon factional symbol. So it's nice to see more use of the new Quintesson factional symbol on these figures. Fully articulated head is on a ball joint, fully articulated shoulders in and out, but it only goes to about that far because of that peg right there. Upper bicep, single jointed elbows. You can articulate the alligator mode arm right there as well. Wrist joints, waist, hips, upper thigh, single jointed knees, forward and back on the ankles, and side to side on the ankles. And you also have this little joint with the tail weapon as well. It can go forward and back. Transformation is pretty simple. Just like the other releases of this figure, we're going to start by removing his weapon from his hand, which does come apart into two pieces. So you have this, I'm honestly not sure what to call this bit right here. And you have this mace, which they do come together and they can make one awesome weapon. Other than that, what we're going to do is we're going to push that head down into the chest a little bit there, so it sits in that chest cavity, and that's going to bring up the gator head as well as this back tail section. What we're going to do is we're going to untab that back tail section, we're going to rotate that around, bring it down, and these two tabs right here are going to tab into these sections right here over where the head was. But before we tab those into place, let's go ahead and rotate that waist around, and then we're going to fold this crotch plate under what's now going to be the back. And now we can tab that section in. There we go, like so. So he's going to be kind of hunched over like this. Go ahead and bend the legs so he's standing up relatively straight. Take the arms here, we're going to bend them at the elbow, and this tab is going to tab into the side there, so just go ahead and tab those arms. I like to rotate the fists so they're kind of facing down because there's nowhere really to store the fists in this mode. It would have been nice if they could fold into the forearm cavity, but it doesn't open up at all. It's also a little bit hollow on the underside of that. And then flip these monster mode arms forward, and there you go. There we have our Quintesson Trooper, our Alicon, in his Space Gator mode. And it's still such a very good look, such a very good design. While they're in their, I guess, beast mode or monster mode, whatever you want to call it, they do look the same. There is no variation between the two in this alt mode. You can also, just like with the Pit of Judgment one, you can store his weapon there on his back. There's just this little rectangular peg, and then there's a little peg hole right there. So you can just store his weapon on his back so he can carry that around with him. Real quick for comparison, here is the new Alicon next to the Earthrise Alicon. So this is the first G1-ish one next to the new G1-ish one. And I like the new colors. I really do. I like the colors on this one a lot, but I really like the colors on the new one as well. I think they both look really good side by side. And also, here he is next to the Pit of Judgment Alicon or Bailiff, whichever you prefer to call him. And now we have 4 different ones. We went from 2 to 4 real quick, and it's really awesome. Even our Quintessons are getting their own troops amassed, and there's already been lots of different Sharkticon molds over the years too, and you better believe I've been collecting all of those different Sharkticon molds as well. But yeah, adding more and more Alicons is awesome, and I can't wait to see what comes next for the Transformers, especially since we're getting more Quintesson stuff. I would like to see more Transformers based off of some of the creatures from the planet Quintessa in the original 86 movie. Like, just do the giant squid as a Transformer, and, you know, some of the fish and other sea creatures that we saw. I think that would be really cool. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Next up, we're going to switch sides for a minute and go over to the Autobot army builder, the Autotrooper, or Autorooper. And yeah, they actually did it. Those crazy son of a guns really did include a swappable Kiss player's head for the Autorooper or Autotrooper. That's crazy to me. Like I said, if you want to see what Kiss Players is, if you're not familiar with that, the best way to familiarize yourself once again is with Chris McFeely's The Basics on Kiss Players video. And that's really the only thing you should look up. You don't need to read anything else. You don't really need to watch anything else. He explains it very well, pretty perfectly. He explains it as appropriately as possible, and that's, like I said, that's the safest way to learn about what Kiss Players is. And it's the darkest chapter, or one of the darkest chapters in Transformers history for a reason, which is why I don't want to talk about it, because it makes me uncomfortable. So I'm not going to talk about it going forward. So here is the Autotrooper figure, and yes, you can head swap it with the original BotCon exclusive animated universe Autotrooper, which again, this is the G1ized version of this guy right here. And honestly, they couldn't have picked a better mold for the G1ized animated universe Autotrooper. They really couldn't have, because they already had this good Cybertronian mold for Ratchet and Ironhide. And in the animated universe, the Autotroopers were just different Autobots that shared the same body mold as Ironhide and Ratchet, and they were just generic troopers that worked for Sentinel Prime. When he became acting Magnus of Cybertron. So they chose a very good mold, I think. I think the colors turned out very good on this figure. I really like the black and the teal with the white. It serves this figure well. Head is on a ball joint. Fully articulated shoulders. Upper bicep, single jointed elbows. Wrist joints. Waist, hips, upper thigh, single jointed knees, side ankle joints. And that's pretty much it for articulation. And in case you're wondering, you can head swap these two figures. It's a little tough because the ball joint on here is a little tight, so be careful when you're trying to remove it. Maybe give it the hot water treatment so you don't accidentally snap the neck joint when you're trying to remove the head, because the way you head swap the Autotroopers here is you have a plate that just slides off of the ball joint section, and all you have to do is push it on. So it's actually really easy to head swap the Autotroopers in this set. It's also the same way you head swap the G2 Cybertronian warriors. However, the Quintesson Troopers, you just pull them off the ball joint and then you snap the other head on as you see fit. So those you actually do genuinely, completely head swap. So these guys are really easy. These guys are pretty easy to head swap with these guys if you want. If you want to get another BotCon army builder, I mean, I think they came in packs of 3 anyway, so if you got them back in the day and you've been wanting to create some kind of variation between your Autotroopers, aside from just maybe adding some custom markings or something to them, you can head swap them with these guys if you want. It is possible. I have tried it, and there will be pictures of it on the promo pictures for this review on our social media, so make sure you're following us on social media so you don't miss that kind of content. Transformation is just like the Siege, Ironhide, and Ratchet mold. We're going to start by taking off the weapon here, which still turns into a hammer or is just a cool little rocket pod or missile pod, whatever you want to call it. What we're going to do is we're going to start by opening this chest compartment here and then fully extending on that double hinge joint there the front of the vehicle. We're going to untab the head from the shoulder sections there. We're going to fold that down, and then we're just going to close that back up like so. Pull down on these little bits on the back of his shoulders. Go ahead and make him T-pose. Rotate those arms forward like so, and then just bring it up and have them meet in the middle like this. Peg those arms together. And that's pretty much that whole section of the vehicle mode done. Now what we do is we grab this section here and we rotate it like so, and then take this bit, click that back into place right there. Now all we have left to do is the legs. So bring the legs down, bring out these little bits to the side so you have more clearance to fold these out further. Tab the legs together, bring this section down, and then line that up, tab those together, tab these side panels together, and there he is in his Cybertronian vehicle mode. And they both, just like the Quintesson Troopers, look exactly the same in alt mode, so there's really no point in comparing the two side by side. But there you go. And then you can put his weapon back on top there, and if you push it too hard, you'll untransform him. But luckily, he's really easy to put back together. And real quick for comparison, here's the new G1ized Autotrooper next to the animated Universe Autotrooper. So you can see them side by side. Now, I definitely prefer this Cybertronian design to this Cybertronian design just because I liked how unique and strange it was having these legs with treads on them as, you know, the way they get around. I don't know. I always just thought this was a really, really cool look. And I get why they didn't do it here because, like I said, they already had a very good G1-esque looking Cybertronian alt mode for this body design. And like I've said in the past, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. And they didn't try to fix it, and it made for a good army builder in my opinion. And last but not least, we have the Generation 2 Cybertronian Warriors that go with our G2 Universe Jaxus. These guys look really good. These guys look really awesome. And I think it's really cool and really creative that they used the new Legacy Skullgrin mold to make two totally new characters that we've never gotten toys of before now. And honestly, I don't know if they could have done this better because they just turned out so good. I love the use of the horns all over them. I like the skull-looking heads they have. I like the new chest piece. The chest piece is very comic book accurate to some of those warriors as well. And the color. The color is on point. Just like with the Autotroopers, you just kind of slide forward on this little piece that just kind of clips on. Oh, well, now it doesn't want to come off. Okay, maybe this one will. There we go. See, it just slides on. You can just swap them out. These guys are fully articulated. Out of the two, I do like this head a little bit more because I just like the overall design of it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love this one a lot as well. I mean, I did get both, but I don't know. I just kind of like this one a little bit more out of the two. Head is on a ball joint. The horns also articulate, partially due to transformation, so you can make sure it fits in the chest cavity while you have it in its Cybertronian tank mode. Fully articulated shoulders, in and out. Upper bicep, single jointed elbows. Wrist joints also are on a hinge, but that's due to transformation. You get both the sword blasters and the regular double blasters that articulate side to side. They can be totally removed if you like. And it still has the tail like Skullgrin did, but that's up to you if you want to have the tail down or up. Still have the skull on the belt buckle. Kind of wish the skull was still painted white, but that's okay. You still have more bone spikes going on over here on the side. And waist, hips, upper thigh, single jointed knees, and side ankle joints. These dudes are very, very articulated. Real quick for comparison, here is the Cybertronian G2 Warrior next to Skullgrin, so you can see them side by side. See some of the changes they made aside from color. Like I said, the chest is completely different, new head sculpts, and that's really pretty much it. I guess they didn't really have to change too much else for these designs. And then here is this guy next to his leader, Jaxus. And here is Jaxus next to the other one. So you can see them side by side in their robot modes. Transformation is just like with Skullgrin. What we're going to do is we're going to start by taking off this back section. You don't actually have to take it off for transformation, but it does make it easier to transform. We're going to go ahead and take off the other blasters as well. We're going to go ahead and fold in the fists, and then we're going to open the chest compartment. We're going to untab the back from the torso. We're going to flip this all the way in. Go ahead and flip those horns down so it fits in better. That's why those horns are articulated, so you can see it just sitting there in the chest cavity. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide the arms up along the back, fold them in like so, bring them in at the middle, and tab them together. And that's the arms all done and together. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to bring this waist section down like this at a 90-degree angle. You can go ahead and close that chest section back up. We won't need to leave that open any further. And the rest is all in the legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this whole back section. For the legs, we're going to rotate this tread section so it's facing out this direction. We're going to fold in this foot here and tab that heel in to the back of the shin. And then we're going to, I'm trying to adjust it so you guys can actually see the inside a little bit. We're going to pull out that knee right there, and we're going to fold it all the way up, and then this is going to tab into the back where the knee was tabbed into, like so. Bring it up. This little tab right here on the front of the waist is going to tab into the top of that knee section, kind of securing that right there. And then we're going to bring this all the way up. It's going to tab right there into the back of the thigh. And then this tread is going to tab right here into the side of the arm. And that's one side done. The second side is just like this side that we just did. Go ahead and pull all that out, rotate that, tab that foot, bring this down, tab that in, go ahead and then tab the front part of the legs together, bring this down, tab that in, and then all we have left is the top of the tank part here. So we're just going to take that, we're going to peg it right back on where we took it off, but we got to take off these sword cannons because these cannons go on first. And the reason for that is the sword cannons don't have any other peg holes on the sides of them, but these ones do. So you can have all 4 cannons attached at once. And what's scarier, a tank with 2 big double barrel cannons or a tank with quad cannons? I would say the tank with quad cannons, but that's just me personally. Real quick for comparison, here is the new Cybertronian warrior next to Skullgrin in tank mode, so you can see them side by side in their tank modes. And they look very similar in their tank modes. I mean, really the only true mold difference between their tank modes that you can actually see from the outside of this is the chest, and I mean, you don't really notice it too much. And then of course, yeah, the colors are drastically different, but I gotta say, I still prefer Skullgrin if I had to pick between Skullgrin and these guys, just because I'm more attached to the character of Skullgrin, just from the various roles he had in the original Marvel comics. He was a pretty cool character, and also I kind of liked him in Master Force as well. His overall design has always been really cool to me. And here is the Cybertronian warrior in tank mode next to Jaxus in jet mode, so you can see them side by side and their alt modes, which nice to have some figures to go with this guy now. I'm really happy that we have figures to go with this dude. Overall, this is a pretty great pack release in my opinion. There's really good value here, and I didn't even talk about the actual retail value of this pack. Guys, if you are thinking about any of these figures in this pack, you need to go to your closest Target or see if you can order it online and get this pack now, because this pack is under value. When you pay for this pack, you're essentially getting this figure right here for free, because the pack is $77.99 at Target, or $95 or whatever it is, and there's $115 worth of figures retail in this pack. Because right now, price-wise, deluxes are $25 on average before tax. Voyagers are at least $30 on average before tax. So 25, 25, and 25, that's 3 deluxes. That's $75 plus another $30 for the Seeker, which is a Voyager class, is $115. And again, it's $77.99 before tax. So you're basically getting this dude for free. Really good value. And I think part of the reason why Hasbro didn't price it as high as they probably could have or should have is because of all of the swappable heads and the fact that I'm sure they knew that people were going to buy more than one of this pack. I certainly did, and I'm happy I did, because man, I was frantically hunting as soon as people started pushing on social media, they're out. And because this was one of the packs I was most excited about once they announced it. I mean, as soon as they announced it, I was like, it's go time. I cannot wait to get these figures. My one and only true complaint about this pack right here is the Seeker. Not because of the colors or anything like that, not because there's something wrong with the mold. And Hasbro did address this. They said it was going to be a little too difficult for the swappable heads, mostly because of how tight the joint is. and that's because they didn't include a swappable head for the Seeker. That's my only complaint. I wish there was a swappable cone head for the Seeker, but it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. It would have been nice if we had one. It would have added a little bit more value to the pack. And yeah, I mean, being a generic army builder, there's going to be a lot of Transformer fans who either just want this Seeker or who don't mind having 2 Seekers, and that's okay. So overall, a great pack. I mean, I can't wait to see what next year's Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack is, because like I said, the past few years, in my opinion, they've all been pretty great, and I feel as though they've also progressively gotten better than the last pack. So I am just kind of excited to see how they're going to top this one, because each pack has topped the last, in my opinion. So can't wait to see what's next. Stay tuned for more Transformers reviews, guys. Like and subscribe, follow us on social media. Turn on notifications so you don't miss video reviews like this one. Check out our sister website, cooltoyreview.com, and like and subscribe to the Cool Toy Review YouTube channel for some of our exclusive Transformer reviews will be over there only. And if you like Star Wars content, check out rebelscum.com, the world's oldest and largest Star Wars fan website not owned by Disney. And they post content every single day on their main website. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the rebelscum.com social media and YouTube channel for Star Wars toy-related content. If you're looking for some Transformers figures and some other really cool toys, come by our physical location inside Order 66 Multiverse in the shops at Willowbend Mall in Plano, Texas, which also houses Order 66 Toys, the world's official collectible Star Wars toy store. And in case you're not local, they go live every single Friday night at 7 p.m. Central Time on the Order 66 Toys Facebook page, and they ship all around the world. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. No matter which faction or group you're with, transform and roll out.
That's it, man. Game over, man.